Hey guys, my name is Danny and I'm your life and relationship coach. And I wanted to talk about emotional abuse in a relationship. This is a bit of a heavier topic, but it is something that is incredibly important and should absolutely be discussed. So if you find yourself on this video and you can relate to the topic itself and the things that I'm about to cover, first and foremost, I wanted to say that I empathize with you. I am sorry that you are going through such a difficult time. Emotional abuse in a relationship is never easy, it is never acceptable, and it is something that should be taken very seriously. Abuse comes in all forms: emotional abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, whichever one it may be. If it is affecting you, if it is affecting how you live your life, if it is affecting your perception on the world and the way that you function in it, please take this video seriously. Please take some of the things that I'm going to say into consideration, and understand that you are not alone. A lot of the times it feels that when you are in a situation or you are in a relationship that has some kind of abuse involved, you can feel very isolated and alone. Unfortunately, this is not an uncommon thing. So, silver lining in regards to that is you're not alone in this situation. There are other people who have gone and are going through the same thing, but there is hope. There is a way out of the situation. So, I wanted to talk about some of the things that we would look at and say, okay, this I would categorize or identify as an emotionally abusive relationship or an abusive relationship in general. The first one, which is subtle, but it still affects you on a deeper level, is your partner setting unrealistic expectations. So you feeling like you can never fulfill their needs, or that you are not good enough to fulfill those needs, right? So, for example, they set the bar here, you feel like you're about to meet that bar, and they set the bar even higher, and you just feel like you're constantly trying to appease them and make them happy, but it just never really seems to be working, and it makes you feel less than. It makes you feel like you are not good enough to be able to make this individual happy. That is one of the signs. That is one of the things that I want you to take into consideration, and one of the things to consciously keep in the front of your mind. Because again, it's one of those subtle ones, but you start to recognize it over time. The second primary one is making you feel inferior. So making you feel, again, like you are less than, right? So they are the alpha, you are the beta. They are the top dog, you are at the bottom. They are better than you are. They are smarter than you are. They are more physically attractive than you are. And all of these things are being expressed to you so that you do not feel like you are on the same level as this individual. Again, that is also a form of abuse. That is a way of making you feel like less than a person. That is a way of affecting your self-esteem and your self-confidence. And it really just kind of feeds insecurities. And once you start to feed these insecurities, those insecurities can run rampant. They can run wild. And really what it does is it affects you. It affects your mind and the way you view yourself. And if you start to think negatively about yourself, you will start to think negatively about the world around you. So this is also something that I want you to be hyper conscious of. The third major one that we see a lot is control and isolation. So your partner has to be in control of every situation. And this can range, right, in regards to the magnitude of control. It can be as simple as your partner wants to make sure that you put your dishes in the dishwasher a very particular way, and if you don't, they will be very upset, all the way to who you hang out with, what time you can leave the house, what vehicle you can use when you leave the house, how close in proximity you have to be to your partner at all times. Again, it's a range, but regardless of that range, it is still control. And if you are in a situation like this where you feel like you are being controlled, that also comes with the feeling of isolation, feeling alone, feeling like you are by yourself and that you are not allowed to experience the world with other people. So again, this is another one that you want to be consciously aware of. You want to have this in the forefront of your mind. If your partner is controlling you, if your partner is telling you who you can see, when you can see them, where you can go, that is a clear indication that you are in an abusive relationship. So the question now becomes, how do I get out of it? How do I get out of this abusive relationship? Now, being that this is happily committed and one of our missions and our goals is to create happy, productive, successful relationships, there are times where we have to step back and say, this is not worth it. This is something that you need to get out of in order for your own well-being and for the well-being of your partner as well. Because also understand that the abuser or the person who is abusing you potentially is also being enabled by you staying in the relationship. They are able to continue that pattern of behavior, and that cycle will not break as long as you remain in that relationship. So how do you get out of it? How do you start the process of removing yourself from that situation? This can be a very delicate matter. Because depending on the level of abuse, obviously I understand the stakes are higher from some individuals than for others. So I just kind of wanted to go over some very generalized steps that you could potentially take. But my recommendation and my suggestion to you would be, if you are in a situation where the stakes are very high, seek help. Seek some kind of plan A, plan B, plan C in regards to your own personal security. So whether that means informing the police of your situation, trying to discuss with a therapist, letting a family member know about your situation so they are aware of what's going on. Do your best to try to create a support network around you in order to be able to start to extract yourself from this relationship. That being said, I wanted to get into some of the generalized kind of steps that you can start to take. Step number 1, make yourself a priority. Now, again, depending on the severity of your situation, this may be a little bit difficult to do, but if you are just in a relationship in which you don't necessarily feel like your partner is prioritizing you or is making you feel inferior, make yourself a priority. Stop worrying about catering to their needs and start catering to your own needs, right? Put yourself on the pedestal. Make yourself happy. Do the things that fulfill you, and try as much as you possibly can to not allow their words or the things that they say or the things that they do affect your day-to-day living. This will be very difficult at first. I completely understand. But the more and more you invest in yourself, the more you will be able to gain strength and confidence and able to separate and walk away from your current situation. The second one is boundaries. Set boundaries. Set hard boundaries if you have to. If you are in more so of a verbal and an emotional abusive type of relationship, setting boundaries is incredibly important. So if your partner starts to yell at you when you express yourself, make it very clear that you are going to walk away from that conversation. You will not partake in that conversation. And if they want to have that conversation or if they want to resolve the issue, then they will have to come from a more emotionally neutral standpoint, where they are not yelling at you or screaming at you or whatever the case may be. Right? So setting boundaries is incredibly important in order to kind of start to really kind of regain your power and feel like you have the confidence to be able to navigate and manage this. The third one is stop blaming yourself. Oftentimes what I find is people who are in these types of relationships feel in some sense that they are at fault. They yelled at me because I made the mistake. They hit me because I, did this wrong. But you have to understand, it's not that you necessarily did anything wrong. It's just you didn't do things to the level or the standard that your partner was expecting. And remember what I said, a lot of the times it is an unrealistic expectation. So you have to be able to step back and say, you know what, this is not my fault. This is not something that I did. This is whatever it is they are going through. This is on them. That is their own emotions that they need to deal with. So try to get yourself out of that victim mindset, because at the end of the day, you have to be able to gain some strength and feel confident enough to be able to say, you know what? No, this isn't me. This was not me. This is something that you did. The fifth and final one is create an exit strategy. So what does an exit strategy look like? Basically, an exit strategy is, depending again on the severity of the abuse, making sure that you have built a support network or a team around you, which can be very difficult if you are in a situation in which you are being controlled and your partner is watching your every step, your every move, right? But at the end of the day, you have to be able to start to create this network. So again, whether that is, informing the police department, whether that is enlisting a psychotherapist or a therapist in order to kind of help you navigate these emotions, letting your family know what the situation is, and then also making sure that you have a plan of where you're going to go when you leave the relationship. So is that your parents' house? Is that a friend's house? Is that your sibling's house? Somewhere where you feel comfortable and safe, and you know that you will not have to worry about that individual continuing to affect your life in a negative way. Creating an exit strategy is incredibly important. So, just to review the tips in order to really start to get you to a place where you can feel like you can step out of this negative cycle, this cycle of abuse. Number 1, make yourself a priority. Number 2, set boundaries. Number 3, stop blaming yourself. Number 4, build a support network. And number 5, create an exit strategy. If you guys related to this video, please make sure you hit the like and subscribe button down below. Again, I love having an open dialogue with people. So if there's any questions that you may have, if you feel like I missed something, again, if you are currently in this situation or you were in this situation or you know somebody who is, please make sure you comment in the comment box down below. If you just want to know more, if you want to dive in a little bit deeper, please visit us at happily-committed.com, where we have a multitude of different articles and blogs and videos that you can utilize. If you would just like to book a one-on-one coaching session with either myself or any of the other amazing coaches that we have on the team, please make sure you visit us at happily-committed.com, where you can book directly on the website. Again, my name is Danny. I'm your life and relationship coach. I hope you guys are staying happy and healthy, and I'll see you guys soon.